Welcome to the Kingdom Corner. I'm Andrew, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Dale Baker. How are we doing on this Victory Monday, my friend?
Oh man, how could you not have a better Monday than today? The Chiefs win, dominating fashion, second biggest win of the year against the San Francisco 49ers, who we own.
Yeah. The Patrick Mahomes is now 5-0 against the 49ers, so that's pretty big,
Yeah,
especially coming off a Super Bowl where they were just playing against the 49ers, and the 49ers were the NFC champions last year, and now this year at least, not uh the 49ers do not look like the same team. And I realize that they have a lot of injuries too. And we've had some as well too. So I don't want to say that that's just an excuse because good
right.
teams find ways to get past some of those injury excuses.
Yeah, you have to. You can't make excuses. I mean, the Chiefs are banged up too.
That's right. That's right. Well, today we're going to be getting into the recap of this 49ers and Chiefs game. We're going to be looking at some of these injuries of, man, do we need some help somewhere else? Kareem Hunt is still on a tear. Didn't get to 100 yards, but got himself 2 touchdowns, almost three.
Yep.
Man, lots and lots to talk about. The defense is elite, and we're going to get into that a little bit
Oh
more too.
yeah.
So come hang out with us and hear all about it.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown! Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions.
How about those Chiefs?
All right, Dale. So the Chiefs and 49ers had a rematch of Super Bowl, what was it, 58, right? And so the Chiefs travel out to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. And after yesterday's game, the Chiefs are now the only undefeated team still left in the NFL. The Vikings fell to the Lions.
Man, what a tough loss for them.
It is. It is. So Chiefs are the only undefeated team left, and people keep saying, "Well, they're not winning the way they should be." It's like, well, let me just tell you, I don't think they care how they win as long as they win.
Right. Yeah.
And honestly, I don't care how they win either, as long as they're winning.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ugly. I mean, I know we're going to talk about it, but Pat, looking at Pat's box score and the offense's box score, it's like, man, I don't think they would have won this game. It was by as much as they did, but man, they just controlled the game.
Yeah, absolutely they did. And so the first drive of the offense had yesterday was a fake punt on a
Oh
fourth down,
man,
4th and 1, and it was
yeah,
on their own side of the 50, close to the 50, but on their own side still.
uh huh,
I don't know about you, but after that, I thought I would have rather have just lined up and gone for it because that fake punt went nowhere. They didn't gain
nowhere.
an inch.
Yeah, it's like they were ready for it. I mean, for Bosa to be still on the field there and to be right there and kind of running around, I think I'd run away from him if I
Yeah.
was the Kansas City Chiefs. But they ran right towards him. I thought they may be like, "Hey, let's go," and so, but they did not get it. I mean, that play made me nervous because you give free points to the 49ers, you can be in trouble quick.
Yeah. Well, and in that point of the game, neither team had really gotten anything going. And so no
Right.
team really had momentum. And all of a sudden, you give the other team a big stop
Yeah.
on a fake punt on 4th down. That gives the momentum to them where there
Right.
was none to begin with. But luckily, Brock Purdy did what he did for a lot of the game. And the very next play, threw an interception
Yeah.
right to our man, Justin Reed. So good to see
Yeah.
him getting his name on the board like that and giving the momentum right back to the Chiefs. So there's basically no momentum and then two huge momentum swings within just a few minutes of each other.
Right. Yeah. And I think, did we get 3 points or did Pat throw an interception there?
On that one, no, on that one, that might have been the interception as well. Because
Right. Yeah. So we
the
gave the ball
49ers
right back.
scored first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But so speaking of the offense, let's talk about some good things though too. So
All right.
the
Let's talk about
offense
it.
scored
Yeah.
28 points, which is the first time they scored 28 points or more in a game in 16 games. Who would have ever thought in a Patrick Mahomes era Chiefs football that we'd be talking about a 16-game drought of 28 points or more?
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah, that is wild. I mean, that's
That's
just
wild to
crazy.
think. Yeah.
But on the other plus side, they did correct some of their red zone offense issues.
Yep.
Uh, they went 4 for 5 in the red zone. And one of those times they went for it on 4th down where Mahomes ran it in himself,
Yeah.
which was pretty elite play right there. So on that series, I'm telling you, I really thought because they had like a first and goal from like the 1 or maybe the 2, something like
Right.
that. And I
Yep.
thought with how dominant our run game has been, how dominant our offensive line is playing, let's just run it 4 times.
Right.
We're gonna get in
Yeah.
eventually. They tried it like the first time, maybe the first 2 times, and they said, you know what? Let's just pass it.
Right.
And I thought, this has not been our strength today, boys. Today, our strength is the run game. Let's get
Yeah.
behind it. And I know Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, they love passing the ball and getting Mahomes those stats. And Mahomes doesn't care much about those, but we'll get more into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
And so instead, they draw back to pass again on 4th down. No one's there, though. No one's
Oh
open.
man.
And all of a
No one.
sudden, the river parted and Mahomes saw it. And he said, I will take this leap of faith and step by step through this valley and run into the end zone.
Yes.
Man, and so he lowered his shoulder into the guy to get into the end zone. Did you hear his press conference after the game talking about that play?
No, I did not.
It was hilarious. They said, man, you got to truck the guy going into the end zone. Is that what you're trying to do? He said, no, I was just trying to brace myself for a hit. I really didn't mean to do that to the guy. He said, I guess it's that dad bod those extra pounds I've been putting on holding up for me here.
Well, they sure did. They sure did help.
That's right. They sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty fantastic. But the run game, too, just has the longest run of his career, 33 yards.
Yeah.
When you watch that even live, did that remind you of anything?
Oh yeah. I mean, Tom Brady mentioned it and reminded the Tennessee playoff game, running down the sideline and scoring. And so I think like it's weird. Like defenders are scared, not scared, but I mean I don't know what it is because I know he goes out of bounds very quickly. I don't know. They're just scared to hit him like head on because they're like, well, we're going to get a flag and it's going to be 15 yards either way. So let him run 15 yards. I don't know, but it's like, and also I think Mahomes showed it all game was the fact that he'll throw the ball. If he's still behind that line of scrimmage, if a pinky toe is still behind that line of scrimmage, he will throw the ball. And so you have to respect that. You have to guard those guys. And so I think he just does it so well and then control of his body.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of it is they don't want to get flagged.
Right.
Because like you said, Mahomes going to, just squirm out really quickly on it. But the other side, that other guy was over pursuing that angle. And Mahomes is not the fastest guy on the field. And I think he would admit that. We could all admit that.
Oh, yeah.
But he is so good at knowing the game of football. He's so good at seeing angles and knowing what's open and what's not open. In the playoffs, he's going to take a lot more chances too, just because it's the playoffs. But even in these games, when he can see you having a bad angle, he is going to get you out of position then and just take advantage of that. And that's what he did in that run too.
Yeah, he always says he's fast enough. He's fast
right.
enough. It's just fast enough. So there you
just
go.
Faster than the guy behind me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Kareem Hunt, continue this run game here. What do you think about Kareem Hunt now?
Well, you know what I think about Kareem Hunt. I mean, I think everyone knows what I think about Kareem Hunt. Keep giving him the ball. I mean, like, I couldn't believe he had 78 yards rushing because it looked like for the most game, the 49ers were doing a great job of keeping him, but he gets positive yards. I think he did get a negative play, but I mean, like that guy just gets positive yards. He falls forward, as you usually say. He always is falling forward. He just gets positive yards. And so it may not be like the big hitters that we want, but it's just keeping the ball moving and keeping the defense honest. Like you have to respect Kareem Hunt. You can't just, keep put him on an island and be like, well, we'll stop him. But yeah, so
if you don't load the box, they will give it to him every time.
Right, yeah.
And he will make you pay for it every time.
Yeah, so you have to respect Kareem Hunt and his running ability. And so, yeah, it's I mean, man, I still can't believe 31 teams didn't have that guy on the practice squad or something just to pull up. And so he still got, and maybe it was just the juice coming back to Kansas City and knowing that he has a chance to win a Super Bowl. And he's playing a little more passion.
Yeah, I for sure think that's part of it.
Yeah.
And the other side we briefly mentioned before, and I'll briefly mention again, I think a lot of the reason he was sitting on the couch and not on anybody else's team is because he's with the Browns, and the Browns, with all respect or maybe all disrespect towards them, they're a dumpster fire of an organization.
Oh man, they're so bad.
They don't know how to handle their players. They don't know how to use their personalities and their traits to their advantage. And the same with Kareem Hunt, right? They had him in there, and he'd get some good yards here and there, but just never could get going there, and not playing to his strength. And here, Andy Reid is so good, and that's what makes him such a good coach. Is no matter
Right,
who's
right.
in there, he plays to their advantage, and he's dialing up with run plays to
Yeah.
their strength towards
Yeah.
the middle, right down the middle of the run lanes of the offensive line, right behind their big back of Kareem Hunt, and it is working out well for him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely working out great. So keep feeding the ball, 22 carries, not quite 28, but still right where you said would be like the perfect number for Kareem Hunt. So about 22 carries a game. And so I think that's keep using them. And I get excited to think about Pacheco coming back. And you got two guys that you can sub in and out and see what they can do. So
yeah, well, the Chiefs had 23 designed runs between the tackles against the 49ers, the most in the game since 2016. So of any team across the NFL, the most designed in between the tackle calls of any team since 2016. Man. So they know what their strength is, and they're using it to their advantage.
Yeah.
So, and on those design runs between the tackles, the Chiefs gained 81 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had a 47% success rate. So that is pretty good running right there.
Right, yeah, they finished with 184 yards. They finished with rushing, and so that's pretty good.
Yeah,
they ran more rushing yards than passing yards. How many times have we said that for the last 3 years?
I don't know that's ever happened since here.
Yeah, 39 attempts on the rushing. So 39 attempts. Wow.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think Kareem Hunt now?
All right.
I'm not sure if he's even eligible for this award, but since he was on this couch, I think maybe.
Yeah.
Should he be the front runner or at least one of the finalists for the comeback player of the year? I mean, I know we're only 2-3 games into his season.
Right.
But with what we've seen so far, should he be eligible for this?
I don't know. That's a great question. Because he played last year. He played last year a little bit for the Bengals I think it's usually a guy that doesn't play the year before.
Is what do you have to do to qualify for this? Yeah. I mean, because you could also throw Sam Darnold's name in there, but he's been on the team too.
Right. But I think you would throw it's Kirk Cousins to lose.
All right.
Right. Because he ruptured his Achilles last year and he's come back and now he's playing. So but I guess Kareem Hunt did get hurt at the end of the year, didn't he?
That's right.
He did. So maybe he is. Yeah. So I think he would be eligible for it. So yeah, you're right.
Well, my question is, should he be the front runner? In your opinion?
I don't know. I think we need to get a few more games, right?
All right. So you're not that sold on Kareem Hunt yet.
Well, I am sold on Kareem Hunt. I just don't know about comeback player of the year. I mean, that's quite an honor. And so and he's been man, he's just jumped right in like he's never left Kansas City, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and that's credit to the coaching staff and Kareem Hunt, just getting him ready and keeping his body ready to play football. So shout out Kareem Hunt, man. Congratulations. Yeah. Always like to see guys do well.
Absolutely. So what about the passing though? Like the Chiefs just seem to not be figuring it out quite yet on the pass game for whatever reason. Juju goes down early.
Well, I can tell you why.
Be there. Okay, tell me why. Please explain to me in all your wisdom.
All right. Yeah. Well, in all my wisdom, I don't know if the wisdom is the right word here, but I think it's just the guys that he has. And so it's tough. I mean, McCole Hardman showed up and had a couple nice plays. Noah Gray had a couple plays. And I think like when those guys can do that when they're wide open, but when there's adjustments made on them, I think they struggle getting open and getting separation. So when you still double Kelsey, which is crazy to me because he hasn't had the year that he normally has, and they're still doubling Kelsey.
But don't you think he's going to if they don't double him?
Well, I know that's the problem. Yeah, I'm with you there. But so but then once the receivers get something they don't expect or see, then I think they just get tight and there's just not enough separation to throw the ball in there. So I just keep running those jet sweeps and until they can. I just don't think with McCole Hardman and Xavier Worthy, I think this is too fast. But I just don't think the wide receivers, and for the last 3 years, maybe 2 years, the wide receivers have not helped Pat out very much whatsoever.
No, not at all.
And then losing Rashid Rice, losing Hollywood Brown, Did Justin Watson play yesterday?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He had a really good catch. I think he only had one catch, but it was really good. He
Right.
got to twist back around and reach out for it and snagged it.
Yeah.
So only for 8 yards, but it's a good catch.
And then I think you see Mahomes forcing things. So to make him, I think he leads the league in interceptions right now, which is again wild
Probably.
to say. And they're 6-0, so that's crazy.
Yeah.
Usually a quarterback.
He has more interceptions than touchdowns.
Think about it. That's wild.
Yeah,
Wild to think about.
Who would have ever guessed that stat going into the season that Mahomes would lead the league in interceptions and have more interceptions than touchdowns?
Right.
So,
and then I think that shows you and they still win by 10 points.
Yeah.
How does that make any sense whatsoever? It doesn't.
The defense. The defense.
Which the defense. There you go. The defense, man.
We're going to get to that in a second, too. But so Juju goes out. So we just talked about this a little bit, but what makes this team able to just kind of plug and play whoever we want to in there? Like, it seems like whoever Andy dials up for that week, like they have a big game. Like Hardman showed up big in yesterday's game.
Right.
Yeah,
I think you mentioned
wasn't
there
the plan going in.
Yeah.
But then Andy Reid's like, you know what? Juju's out, so you're up, Hardman. Come on your number, and he had a big game.
And I think it's Andy Reid has a lot to do with that. And I think the coaching staff has a lot to do with getting the guys ready for the game. And I think they all know that, hey, you could have a big game. And I think it's probably Pat and Travis telling all the guys, hey, be ready. You can have a good game. We're going to need you. It's going to take all of us to win. And so I think it's just the coaching and then Andy Reid drawing those plays up to get people wide open in the middle of the field. Noah Gray.
Yeah.
And catch it.
Noah Gray's coming on, my man.
Oh, man, I know. I like him.
They gave him that contract this offseason, extend him.
Yeah.
Gave him a pretty decent contract, I thought.
Right.
For his production so far, and he has proven that he might be the guy when Travis Kelce decides to hang it up.
Yeah.
So they might know what they have there, I guess. So
well, and Sky Moore had another target.
Yeah.
Did he catch that ball or did he?
No.
Oh, no. He didn't.
Wanye Morris still has more receptions on the year than Sky Moore, and more touchdowns. So he has one of each, and Sky Moore has 0 of each. So.
Is that real?
That is a real stat.
Sky Moore has zero receptions.
0 receptions, 0 touchdowns.
Get out of it. That is.
Check it out. Check me on that. I'm telling you, 0 catches, 0 touchdowns.
Oh my!
An offensive lineman is beating him in those categories. So, as a wide receiver who's drafted, I believe in the 3rd round, and the offensive lineman is outpacing you in that area, not a good sign for you. So no. I'm not so sure how much longer he's going to be on the team for. I'm not saying they're going to cut him this year, but I'm just not so sure he's going to be making the roster next year, unless they just happen to bring nobody else in and then they're stuck with who they got. But we'll see.
He's not even on the receiving list because I guess he has 0.
He doesn't have a reception.
Mahomes has more receptions than Sky Moore.
That's true. Anybody that has 1 has more than Sky Moore. So
you have the same number of receptions as Sky Moore this year.
I sure do.
Listen, I hope he figures it out. Right, we hope. I mean, because he plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, we make light of it, but I know your heart and my heart. We hope he figures it out, and he helps the Chiefs. I mean, he has a touchdown in the Super Bowl for us. So,
yep, that was his first touchdown of his career. It was in the Super
Bowl. No one saw it coming, not even him.
Good call.
Oh man!
Let's talk about some more issues for the offense here, too. So Mahomes isn't playing well. Is this an issue? He has more picks than touchdowns. His stats are not up at all.
Right.
But he seems to be finding ways to win. But the flip side of this, like I say this, and I keep thinking that eventually with all these turnovers that you're losing the turnover battle, which we didn't yesterday because we were +1.
Yeah.
Because luckily, Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions to Mahomes 2.
Which we got to talk about. Remind us. Let's talk about that real quick after we talk about the Chiefs offense.
All right. Well, that's what I'm saying too here is when I keep thinking you lose that turnover battle, you're going to lose those games, right?
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs just keep finding ways to squeak these out. And I keep thinking, man, eventually this is going to catch up with them. And now I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's not.
Yeah, maybe it's not.
I mean, you can't expect to win all those games if you lose,
Right.
though. Honestly, you can't in the NFL.
No.
Eventually, it will catch up with you.
Oh, yeah.
It might not even be until the playoffs, but it will catch up with you.
Yeah.
And so you got to protect the ball better. And like I know Mahomes is trying to get the offensive game going and the passing game going, but
Yeah.
man, some of those receivers are not helping him, tipping the ball up.
No.
But a lot of these interceptions are on Mahomes, though.
Oh yeah, the two yesterday were both on him. I mean, a tipped pass at the line, and then I think if Xavier Worthy doesn't even fall down, it's still intercepted. And so yeah, it's just I think there was those bad throws, and then he overthrew Xavier, which I'm okay with overthrowing than underthrowing because usually when you underthrow a deep pass, it gets intercepted.
Yeah.
And so just a little more air on that ball. Let Xavier get under it, is what you want to do. It was more of like a bullet pass. But yeah. So, I mean, like, I know a lot. Like, I wanted to hit the panic button last night, just kind of thinking about the game is like, man, we need another receiver. Like, we need someone. But then I remembered that Juju did not play. And so I think if Juju is not healthy, if he can't get healthy with that hamstring, which makes me worried because hamstrings just kind of linger, and then if you're not 100%, then you can just flare up. And so I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we need to go get a D Hop or, I mean, the people we were we just, because the trade deadline is extended until the end of I think November 5th. I think November 5th is when the trade deadline is over. Yep. And so we still got a couple weeks that we can make a play. So I wonder if Brett Veach is on the horn. What would you do?
Well, first off, I think Brett Veach is always looking. Even when we don't have injuries, I think he's always got his ear to the ground saying, who is out there that I could potentially get a good deal on that would help this team
right
now. So I think he's always, whether injury or not.
Right.
So, but with that being said, I don't think we don't have much room in the cap space to go out and sign a lot of people.
Yeah.
So unless they're willing to be traded and then immediately restructure their contract, which most guys are not going to take that big of a pay cut because the Chiefs only have like $4 million or so in cap space. So most guys are not going to play for that who are the guys who everybody wants us to trade for, like a Tyreek Hill.
Right. Man.
Tyreek Hill is not going to be traded.
He's not coming back. No, yeah.
He's not going to be traded to the Chiefs and give up making $30 million a year.
Right.
To make $3 or $4 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, it's just unrealistic. So get those people out of your mind. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But the most likely scenarios is honestly the people who played for the Chiefs before, as we mentioned.
Right. Yeah.
Because as we've talked about, the Chiefs offense has been well noted to be a difficult offense to pick up and learn. And so plugging somebody in the middle of the season, unless they're just an extremely smart player, I don't know how much they're going to help you. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I thought, and I remember D Hop from Houston. I mean, he's been in Tennessee for, I think this is his second year. And so has he gotten better or I don't know, man.
He's not showing up on the stat line right now. And I know Tennessee's not good, but
Will Levis,
you would think,
shout out.
You'd still think that if you're, one of the elite receivers that you're still going to do something, and he's not.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying he can't be again if he's put in the right system.
Right.
Kareem Hunt is a prime example. If you're in the right place with the right system, you can succeed still. But all that to say is I don't think they're going to be trading for any of those guys. The most likely scenario, I think, is when the Chiefs try to get one of the guys who previously played for him, like a MVS, right? I think he was released by the Bills. Honestly, I think he is the most likely scenario.
There you go.
That they will pick him up. I'm not saying they will, just most likely scenario. So how would you feel, though, if the Chiefs did sign MVS?
Mixed feelings.
Well, I'm asking what they are. Explain those.
I think I would be like, okay, we got someone who knows the offense. I mean, just a year removed from it, 6 games removed from it. So he would definitely, but I know we've well documented on this podcast the MVS drops and just not consistent enough play. And so I would just like to see a guy, that's consistent. And we've also seen where he's not very good at separation for the Kansas City Chiefs. And so we need guys that can get separated and get open and help Mahomes. But I do think it would be a benefit that he has played with Mahomes and Mahomes kind of knows him. And he had a heck of a playoff run for us. I mean, that's true.
Huge catches in the AFC Championship game this last year.
Now, he had 1 year left on his deal and we cut him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's bad blood there. Who knows?
Well, who knows? But he's not on any team right now. He got cut by the Bills.
Yeah,
So, but
0.
let me throw this idea out there though.
Okay,
So MVS only played for the Chiefs for 2 years.
right.
How did you feel about him in his first year playing for the Chiefs?
I was not excited, personally, was not excited about him because I had saw him play for Green Bay.
Well, I'm not saying
And
your thoughts coming in, but
oh,
on his performance in year one, how did you think he did?
I don't even know if I can remember year one. I don't remember a lot of things that he did.
Well,
Is that your point? Point exactly?
no.
Oh, okay.
My point is his first year, like a lot of people had a lot better feelings of him
Yeah,
um than a lot of people even
right.
remember, right? And so in his first year with the Chiefs, um let's see, he only had 315 I'm sorry, that was last year.
Oh,
He had 687
oh,
receiving
okay.
yards and 2 touchdowns.
And that was with Juju.
That was with Juju, and
Yeah,
that's my point is
yeah,
the year that he did fairly well with almost 700 receiving yards. I mean, it's not 1,000 yards, but that's still a decent receiver.
yeah. That's a good number 3.
And so, uh, maybe playing with Juju opposite him is what helps him be at his best, right?
Yeah,
Maybe just that kind of player. So if Juju can get on the field and not be the guy who has to be there for every play,
right.
and therefore stay a little more healthy, and then
Yeah,
get MVS opposite him too, maybe it could work out again. And
man.
so I'm not saying it would. I'm not saying the MVS wouldn't still struggle with drops, but the one year that MVS had with the Chiefs that was really good was the year that he played with Juju, and now Juju's back.
I mean,
So,
I feel like you're breaking news right now. I feel like you know something we don't.
well, if the Chiefs end up signing it, everybody's going to be thinking that. But I'm just throwing out some ideas and scenarios.
Yeah,
So, I'm not saying that they will. Like you said, maybe MVS doesn't want to come back to the Chiefs. I don't know.
right.
So, but that's just yet to be seen with all that. So, but let's jump into the defense and like you want to talk about with some of these turnovers, right? These interceptions.
Yeah. I think the turnovers were timely. I think obviously they were. I mean, one was in the red zone, one was on the cusp of being in the red zone,
Yeah.
and so that was just. I mean, that defense is so good that bend don't break and then get timely turnovers. I think that was one thing we were missing last year is the turnovers, and it seems like this year we're kind of getting those turnovers, and so it's amazing to see. Like you mentioned earlier, Justin Reed got one. I don't know if Brock Purdy even saw him, but George Karlaftis was getting pressure, and I think I would say safe to say that he caused 2 of those turnovers, and so just by his pressure, and so it's very exciting. So. I opened up the old X machine, and Jalen Watson has suffered a fractured ankle on Sunday's win.
Oh, that is not good.
So they're doing imaging today, and they'll find out how bad it is.
So potentially 6 to 8 weeks, or even for the entire season.
Yeah,
depending on how bad that is. So, yeah, that's not good. He was playing really well.
Oh
so,
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Hopefully they can still recover and be good, and hopefully he gets speedy recovery. Never wish injury on anybody for the Chiefs or any other team either. So we want people to be healthy and be in good spirits about that. So yeah, I think the Chiefs only got 1 sack on the day, but they were still creating a lot of pressure. Now I feel like in the last, I don't know, 5-8 minutes of the game when the Chiefs defense got back out there, I felt like they were not getting pressure at that point.
No.
Until the interception there at the very end. But outside of that, I was like, where is the thing we've come to know so much about with the Spags defense and these pressures? Like, why are we not doing these? And they're driving the ball down the field, and as they got close to the red zone, Spags like, oh, maybe I should start using something. Like, yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Anyways, glad.
And I think like the pressures are, we like sacks and we like interceptions, but like even like the pressures that they got yesterday were like timely pressures. Like I know there was like on a 3rd down, what was his name? McDuffie came and blitzed, and I think George were like untouched, and it didn't allow Brock Purdy to have his feet set, and he like overthrew the ball, and so it was like that pressure was like. Yeah, even though it was in a sack, it still affected the play in a good way.
Yep, absolutely it did. So the other big thing is the Chiefs defense
Uh-huh.
their run defense especially,
Whew.
that
Elite.
sucker is so good. I
Elite.
mean, remember just even 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we were
Yeah.
struggling to stop any kind of run. If they got a 3rd and 1, we
Yeah.
just like, okay, well, just try to get stop them in the next first down series because we knew
Right.
we were not going to stop them at a 3rd and 1. And yesterday there were several times. There's a time they got to like 2nd and 2, I think
Yeah.
it was, and they got maybe half a yard, and
Yeah.
they tried to run it again on 3rd down, and they lost yards. And like, this is not the run defense that we've become accustomed to over the
No.
past few years. I mean, I'm glad it's changed. This is the
Oh
thing we've
yeah.
been needing to change about that defense for a long time is the run defense. And honestly, we didn't bring in that many more defensive line guys,
No.
right? And so we don't have any new players, but maybe they're just figuring out the system more or whatever the case may be. But man, their run defense, solid.
Well,
Awesome
as we've said on this
week.
podcast, and we are very pro Spags. No one has ever questioned Spags and his defense, and I think you nailed it. It's the same defensive line. Not a lot of new guys are coming in, and they're learning it. And he is. Spags won't get a head coaching job just because he's a defensive guy, but I'm glad of that because he'll stay with the Kansas City Chiefs and they can go on a magical run.
Yeah. I mean, eventually you think that a team would give him a chance, but he was a coach before, a head coach, and
Yeah,
that did not go well for him.
it was a
So,
disaster.
yeah. So, honestly, I hope they kind of look back and think, you know what? He's not a good head coach, which I'm fine if they think that, 'cause that might mean he
Right.
stays with the Chiefs forever.
So I know he's not a Chiefs player, but let me ask you this. Brock Purdy's on his last year. Do you extend him or do you pay him? And how much do you pay him?
I'm talking about if I'm the 49ers.
If you're the 49ers or just a fan or just, like you're John Lynch in the room. What do you do after a performance like that?
Man,
Because you're always not going to have Christian McCaffrey. You're not always going to have Debo. You're not always going to have Ayuk. You're not going to have these caliber of players around him all the time because you're going to pay him and it's going to suffer, right?
here's the question every NFL team needs to ask themselves when they come to this. Like, honestly, every
Okay.
NFL, because the quarterback market right now is so crazy. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
who you are. Basically, if you're getting extended, you're going to be one of, if not the top pay
Right.
quarterback. And everybody who's getting extended is going to at least top 5, if not the top,
Right.
even if you're not the top quarterback.
Yeah.
And so this is why you have to ask this question. And it's the question the Vikings asked themselves, and you can see they moved on from
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins last year. So here's the question you have to ask. If we pay this quarterback, can he overcome the deficits at other positions that we won't be able to pay?
Right.
That is the question you have to ask. And so with Mahomes, I'd say yes, he's proven that
Yeah.
without Tyreek Hill, without these other positions,
Right.
he can overcome them and win you Super Bowl. So yes,
Yeah.
you pay guys like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And the Vikings saw Kirk Cousins. They thought, you know what? I don't know that he can.
Yeah.
And so they decided to let him go, and he's now with the Falcons, right? And so they drafted a quarterback. And so you have to ask that question of Brock Purdy. I don't know that Brock Purdy can overcome not paying other positions because he has elite skill positions around him right now.
Elite.
Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. I mean, that is some elite skill position players around him.
Left tackle, a Hall of Fame left tackle.
Yeah. And so you're going to be able to pay some people, but I don't know that he can overcome those deficits if they pay him.
Right.
And so if I'm them, I'm not paying him because I don't think he can overcome those deficits unless he is willing to not become the top 5 highest paid quarterback and is willing to take, instead take 20, 25 million a year instead of the 35, 40, 50 million.
Yeah.
So if he's
60.
able to do that, or 60, whatever
60.
becomes,
Yeah.
right? If he's able to be closer to that 25 mark, then I would extend him. I don't know that any quarterback's willing to do that right now. So
no, not because they're seeing Dak Prescott, they're seeing guys get paid that have not done anything.
Yep, exactly. So that's what I'm saying is if I'm them, I'm not, because then I'm just saying I'm not going to win a championship for the next 5 years.
Right.
And so
it's all right. They won't re-sign him, and the Raiders will pick him up and pay him $60 million.
That's fine too. So, all right, let's go into our last segment here. Take the nail to schools.
Okay, here we go.
All right, this one should be an easy one for you, but it's a recent history, so hopefully not too hard for you. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some hard ones in the next few weeks. So
Okay. Well, see, you're
I'm
setting
easing
this
you.
up. You're gonna make me fail now. I'm gonna fail. I'm
I
gonna
might.
choke.
You might. So this is about our boy Nick Bolton. All
Man,
right.
my guy.
So we know him well. We've been following him since he came into the
Yeah.
league. You've been following for longer than that, even. But
Yeah, Mizzou. MIZ, baby.
yeah. So Nick Bolton wears number 32. What number did he wear his rookie year?
Oh man, I do know that. 20.
No,
No, not even close.
not even close.
Was it 54?
It was 54.
Yeah, there we go.
Well done, sir. Well done.
So,
So
well, you helped me there because I was gonna guess 24, but that was
Yeah.
that was not it. So
Yeah.
54.
well, fun stat for you for today.
There you
Nick
go.
Bolton
All right.
wore number 54 his rookie year. He wears number 32 now. And he wore 32 in college as well,
Right.
because it's his sister's two favorite numbers,
Oh,
number 3 and
there
2.
you go.
And when he came into the league, Tyrann Mathieu had number 32, and he even says, like, I didn't even approach him or ask him about it. Said I was a rookie, and it wasn't my place to even
Right.
question him about that number. And
Yeah.
so that's why I didn't. But when Tyrann Mathieu left, that's why he switched over that number, the number he wanted to begin with.
Yeah.
So a few quick stats about Nick Bolton, since we're talking about him. This is his
Whoa,
fourth
Nick
year in the
Bolton.
NFL. He was drafted in the second round out of Missouri, or as people around there like to say, Mizzou.
Yeah.
Right. And so
That's right.
in his time in college, he played in 33 games over 3 years. In those 3 years or 33 games, he had 220 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
Those last 2 years, his sophomore and junior year, he was named to the first team SEC, All-Star, All-American team.
Yeah. All
There you
American.
go.
Yeah.
For the SEC. And then his final year, his junior year, he was named to the second team All-American for the country. So pretty good stuff going on there. Now he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. In the seasons that he's played with the Chiefs, that he's played for the full season, because remember last year he was hurt for like half the year. But for the 2 seasons that he played, the full season, he has had over 100 tackles in each of those seasons. And so maybe his biggest play of his career is against the Super Bowl with the Eagles, when he strip sacked Jalen Hurts and returned it for a touchdown.
Man.
That was a very memorable play.
Yes. I say, I mean, that would turn the game around.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we love Nick Bolton. Glad he's here. One of us definitely questioned him more than the other when he first came into the Chiefs, but we also will not mention that. But it's probably also the same person that doubted Spags for a while, too. So you can piece that together.
Oh, my goodness. I never doubted Nick Bolton. Come on now. I never doubted Nick Bolton. Now this year I have. His speed is not very, very, anyway.
We're down him already again. So, hey, well, thanks for joining us in this episode of the Kingdom Corner. We're so glad you're here. Please do us a big favor. Go like, subscribe, share, and leave a review for this podcast. That helps us more than anything else. And so this episode is brought to you by Oh Threads, and you can find your own super soft t-shirt or hoodie on their website at ohthreads.com. We'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.